Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and hang out. I'm going to do those two things and talk, and you'll chat at me. Harold's throwing the emotes in the chat. I'm going to throw them back. Harold, of course, thank you for hosting. Always happy to see that. You can hit the old applause button there. So anyone that's just tuning in to Harold's channel being like, what's going on with the H-Bomb and friends? Be like, oh, Pat Baer's building a model kit and hanging out. But yeah, if you're a subscriber like Dirty Monkey, you can throw in Lashbrook is here. Hello, hello. Reminder, folks, it's a great time to renew your subscription. It's always a good time to do that when it's time to renew. Because if you use Twitch Prime, you have to manually renew. And if you don't, you can also just hit that button, let the people know. If you don't feel like renewing your subscription or you don't feel like starting a new one, that's okay too. That's all right. But more likely than not, if you're here right now, you are already a subscriber because you're tuned in. You know what's up. But yeah, we're getting a building in a moment or two. This is just a little hangout time. This is time to kind of chat, see what's up, get in the right vibe. We've got the Freedom Gundam 2.0. Look at there. There's some of the Freedom Gundam right there. There's a little person sitting in there in the cockpit. Can't really see them, but they're there. Cockpit moves around a little bit. We're going to finish up the body. Then we're going to work on the head. So we'll have some stickers to apply. My favorite thing. Then we'll work on the arms. Then we'll work on the we'll get the arms, and then we got to work on the legs. The waist, the weapons. I love this kit. One, I think it just looks sharp, right? It's got that red and blue and white, the colors of the main ass Gundam. This is a main character's Gundam type of shit. But also, it's got wings and big weapons. And it does the thing that like I think X was really great about of just like I don't know. Sometimes you just have big guns just pop down from your shoulders, or also pop up from your waist. Why not put big guns on your waist that you can just use? Why not? Sometimes you just need big guns because you got to destroy a whole colony or a whole spaceship. Close combat is cool. The one thing this kit does not have is a big beam weapon that is non-traditional because it's got beam sabers. It's got beam sabers. Of course it does. But it doesn't have like a beam tomahawk or a beam axe or a beam scythe or anything. It's a beam dagger. Beam daggers always seem funny. It's like, why not just be a sword? Okay. Sure. So it doesn't have that. We are waiting, as always, a few minutes, seeing if a few folks want to join us. Seems to be a little light tonight, and that's okay. It happens. I suspect there's some people who are watching the Monday night after WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, because that's usually a very good Raw. So maybe you're checking that out. That's totally cool. We will look. We're going to talk WrestleMania because one of the best things I've ever seen happen in a wrestling ring happened. The Firefly Funhouse match in quotation marks, was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I watched it again twice today, and it is unbelievably good. And we'll get into that in the building portion of the stream. We'll start off with talking about that. I'll say this right now. I sat on my stoop today, and here's an anecdote. I'm trying to give you like stoop updates. Let's go to I'm going to retweet that I'm building, and then I'm going to go to the overhead, and we'll get into it, and I'll talk about some stoop time. So went out on my stoop here, sitting there, waited until my landlord, who often has been spending some of her time like doing phone calls out there to get some fresh air. She left. I went down, sat there, kind of contemplated the universe, hung out, felt the silence on my street, which is often quiet, but now the days more quiet. And then I looked down the end of my street and across the way, and I could barely hear it, but I could hear it. A beat playing, some music, some instrumental music playing. Let's go to the overhead. Let's start building all as I weave this tale for you. So I'm hearing some instrumental music, right? And it's just a cool beat. And then I see a dude, and I hear him a little bit, but I mostly see him, and he's freestyling. And he's not alone. There's another person freestyling. But the positive that I'll tell you right now is that freestyle, those two people that were freestyling, were keeping a social distance. They were, I would say, probably 8 or 9 feet apart. They were as far as they could be to hear the music and hear each other freestyle rap. So they weren't going to do it on Skype. They weren't going to do it in Zoom. They weren't going to do it FaceTiming. They had to get their freestyling in with each other, but they did keep a social distance, and I appreciate that. Um, it was very odd to see because generally when you see people, freestyling at one another, there's a few people, and they're in some sort of, at the very least, a half circle, if not a full circle. So that was an odd thing, but I can appreciate it and I respect it. We just finished the chess piece there. Chess piece is done. So that was good. I was like, cool. Keep your distance. It was fine. I was listening to music on my, and Erno, I was listening to a podcast. Um, and another Dan Reichert shout out in the New Day podcast. Big E talking a little mess at Mr. Reichert for suggesting the topic of their podcast episode, to which Big E knew he knew that Big E did not have a lot to say, as Big E had not watched many WrestleManias as a child because they could not afford such thing. So he didn't really have a lot of like his favorite WrestleMania moments growing up. So he gave a shout out to Dan Reichert for suggesting the topic, which was nice. Nice to hear Dan's name. Didn't hear him because they are, of course, recording separately. They're not together right now. They've run out of those podcast episodes. Starting to hear that a lot. People that usually podcast together that apparently had somewhat of a backlog now do not have that backlog anymore and are forced to do things remotely, and that's been interesting. There is a very minor thing, but I'm not going to put them on blast by naming names or any identifying features or situations, but two people that I know are social distancing together because they are romantically they're in a relationship and they're together, and that was not a thing I knew about, and now I know about that. It's like, all right, okay, sure, that rules. Want to make it very clear. I am pro them being together because they are both awesome folks, and I was like, hell yeah, you guys be awesome together. What's up, Scary? Happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome. But I was like, you be together. That's rad. But it was like, oh, that's how it is, huh? Okay, okay. Y'all are shacking up, huh? Cool. Get it. Uh, I am in a Zoom. I'm in a group that does Zoom meetups on occasion. People just kind of pop in. It opens up, invites go out, and people just pop in just to get a little chatting time in, which is very nice and very helpful. And the someone I know in there has a roommate who occasionally pops in to kind of chat and hang out and talk to people. And that person has, uh, that kind of hair that's like messy in a very adorable, attractive way, and you just want to reach your hand. The thing where you want to reach your hand out and like fix their hair, like run your fingers through it and just be like, I just want to move that out of it like that. This person has that, and I don't know them other than them being like so and so's roommate, but they've got that messy hair, And I was just like, oh, wow, all right, I have a crush on you. This is very easy to maintain this crush. As I do not see you at all, do not know you, and cannot run into you anywhere at the moment. Uh, but I think definitely part of it is just like, oh boy, human interaction. That's nice. That's a nice thing. Pretty cool when you can get it. Get that human interaction going. It's pretty neat. I hope you're all doing okay. I understand if you're not. And also, if you're not doing okay, or if you've been better, I understand too. Infinite Soup says, Pat, I saw the tweet. Holy crap, this Gundam looks cool. Right? Doesn't this thing look like I was saying, this is the main ass Gundam in your show, right? Like Gundam has a way, right? You see the Wing Gundam, you see the RX-78. There are Gundam ass Gundam, the Gundam X, right? The Freedom Gundam is pretty cool, so right. There are Gundams that are like, this is the main ass Gundam. Turn A is a little different because you see the Turn A Gundam and you go, this is all the red colors, but this looks fucking weird because that's the point. But like, also the Turn A Gundam is the most powerful Gundam in all of Gundam, I guess. I always like the hip cannons. Yeah, it's got hip cannons. It also has big drop down cannons. It also has a shield and just a regular rifle. But this is just like this is your like main ass Gundam, right? This is the Gundam that you're just like, this thing shows up and you go, oh, all right, you're in charge. Or you're in charge, you shouldn't be in charge. That's the point of this thing. Hi, Lord Crashes, and welcome. Uh, but I did want to make that clear, and I think that like people were talking about this, and I think that's important to kind of understand. Like, it is okay to feel off and weird and like people say like, oh, you got to put on a brave face, and it's like, yeah, it helps, especially if you're like trying to help other people, trying to be there for other people, but like also it's totally okay to be like, this isn't normal, this isn't great, this is definitely a weird time. Yeah. um the folks that like, please, I mean, I'm gonna fucking talk about wrestling and anime tonight, which I do on almost every stream. And please understand that like part of the thing I'll talk about with wrestling is how weird it was to have a WrestleMania for no one live in person. But also, I'm still going to talk about wrestling and anime. So like, some things haven't changed for me, but that doesn't mean that I am not like affected by what's going on. Um, in many ways, I am, building model kits is a great resource for me to like keep my mind off things. Streaming is a wonderful thing that I'm so happy I have in my life, that I'm able to build model kits and to like have a fun community of familiar names showing up in chat to say hi and talk to me about what's going on. Like, that makes me very happy that people are here. I'm grateful that I'm able to give people something on their schedule. They know that Monday, Thursday, Saturday, well, Pat's going to build for 2 hours. And then he's also going to probably stream one other time that week and play a game, and maybe I'll tune in for that, or maybe I won't. And like, somebody thanked me for putting up my videos on iTunes or on YouTube because they don't watch the Twitch. And I was like, oh, not a lot of people watch those. Like, they get a few views here and there, but I'm mostly just glad that like, it's something, so somebody has something to watch on YouTube. Like, I am very blessed to be in a position where I can do a thing I like doing, and have that have some even meager benefit to the world. Makes me very happy. And with that, oh, a bunch of people just showed up. Hi, welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. I hope you're looking forward to a fun model kit. And also, John Cena got Norded, and we have to talk about it. We have to talk about how John Cena got Norded. Now, first and foremost, I know that he didn't get Norded. I know that Nording is not what happened to him. He got poofed. He got disappeared. He got undone, unstuck, lost. Uh, but Norded is what happens in Kingdom Hearts. You get Norded. Because the phrase John Cena got Norded is a touchstone phrase that I can say where there are people who said that. Jeff said he felt life was more of a management sim now. Yeah, Lord Crashington, it's a strategy thing, and that also applies for Jeff particularly because there are motions that his company, Giant Bomb, go through that are suddenly upheaved and changed, and those things they're all still work, but those old work made sense and there was a system in place, and sometimes work doesn't feel like work when you just get used to it. So now that they're focusing on streaming and putting up that kind of stuff and being on calls and having all their meetings and not being able to see each other, those things are normal for other companies. It's just not normal for them. They stream once or two times or three times a week. Streaming was actually a thing that the premium streams were like a bonus feature. And now it's like, well, we got to do something. So it is a different vibe. But anyway, John Cena got Norded, and as I said, I know he didn't get Norded. John Cena competed in a psychological war that was more Twin Peaks than wrestling. And it was beautiful. It was an indictment of John Cena and the WWE system that built him and made him. It was an attack on the man that came before him. Hulk Hogan and the last success story. So Harold, Nording is a term from Kingdom Hearts, and I'm gonna look up an actual definition. Kingdom Hearts. I'm gonna look up the real definition, but does anyone understand Kingdom Hearts? Kingdom Hearts Norded. Norded meeting. Yeah, this will be good. Okay. A person is made up of three things: a heart, a body, and a soul. They slowly become a xenohort, which the fans termed as being Norded or being Norded or Nording. Xenohort is a person that's like putting parts of him inside other people to control them. So to be fair, John Cena did not get Norted. That is not what happened. John Cena got disappeared from reality. He was standing in the ring at the Performance Center for WrestleMania, and then he was in the Firefly Funhouse, which most of the time seems to exist outside the realm of reality, except when Seth Rollins found it and destroyed it, but now it's back. So it can be the Firefly Funhouse is basically Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, but also it's the Bear Cave in that it can be anywhere and be whatever it needs to be. So John Cena got summoned there, went through a door, and then he fought the very concept of himself. There were references to the Prototype, which was his first non-character character, and a famous moment of him in the ring. There was the Thugonomics phase, his rapping character, and he was kind of stuck in that. In between, There was an 80s montage where he was John Largeman, um, which is a made up thing, which was what would John Cena be like in the 80s? And basically, he was Hulk Hogan. Uh, and it was this whole promo. The moments in it are incredible and nonsense and wonderful. At one point, he refers to the Fiend Bray Wyatt as Husky Harris, who is which was his first wrestling gimmick. Um, uh, and also, there is a moment where Bray Wyatt says, "You can look, but you can't touch," which is referencing the theme song to John Cena's former girlfriend, wife. I can't. Did they get married? I can't remember if they actually got married. And that is bizarre. It is a wild, weird thing that didn't take place in the ring. That fully 100% took place in some fantasy world. There was a ring. Um, uh, it's wrestling stranger than Kingdom Hearts. So, Solf, generally, no. Thank you for using your points to ask that question, Solf. Generally, wrestling is not weirder than stranger than Kingdom Hearts. Wrestling has a logic to it. It often makes up that logic after the fact and retcons its own logic, but it has a logic to it, whereas Kingdom Hearts is nonsensical and does not seem to want to make sense and just adds bullshit in for bullshit's sake. And despite being a world that combines all of these other worlds together, it actually doesn't care about any of those worlds. It cares about its own weird history and story that has nothing to do with those other stories. Because, like, it should give it way more shit about Mickey Mouse than it does about Sora. Because who the fuck is Sora? Except the most parents. Yeah. They're both all about fan service. Yeah, Lord Crescent, I would say yes. And they're both about withholding fan service as well. Anyway, so this match also, at one point, Bray Wyatt is portraying what would have happened if John Cena had turned heel, had become a bad guy. The thing that people always kind of wanted John Cena to really do after he'd become very popular. Because while the first incarnation of the Dr. Thugonomics was definitely a heel, the fans liked him, and eventually he did turn face. And once he did, he never turned back. So they play that up. They play that out, and they have him do the thing that Hogan did. The other person no one ever expected to turn heel. Because there's only one real other person in the history of wrestling that never had that big heel turn that everyone expected. But he never hit the heights as a face either, and that's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat worked babyface his entire career because even Rey Mysterio was part of the Filthy Animals, and that was a heel faction. It wasn't long, but Rey Mysterio has been a heel. Also, Rey Mysterio did lead to the real death of a person in the ring, and so people were booing him for a while there. That is just a real thing that happens. That's not that's just real. So he was booed for a bit. But anyway, this fucking thing, man. So then John Cena is acting like Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And Bray Wyatt is Eric Bischoff. And then The Fiend comes out. And The Fiend beats John Cena. Because the referee is Bray Wyatt. And then John Cena disappears. And the match ends. And we cut back to the current host of WrestleMania, who is Titus O'Neil, who just stares at the camera for a good long beat and goes, "What did I just see?" And if they had the numbers of people, the fact that it didn't cut to footage of Ron Simmons just going, damn. Like, that's the only thing that would have been better. But just Titus O'Neil as all of us just being like, what the fuck did I just see? And it was, so the previous night, Saturday night, there was another match that was a nonsense weird thing. And that was the Boneyard match. That was AJ Styles versus uh, The Undertaker in a, they didn't want to call it a graveyard, and it wasn't. It was just like, it was a weird construction site. And that match, that fight I didn't enjoy nearly as much as I enjoyed this brawl and contest. And there are people who liked the Boneyard match more. And I can understand it. But you have to understand this about me. I like weird shit. One of my favorite wrestling matches of all times involves a moment where a spotlight happens on a wrestler who, and then they show footage on the screens of that person remembering that the person he's been wrestling the whole time, they used to be a tag team, and that was the best time of his life. And it cuts back, and he just starts crying and gives up because he remembers what it was like to be a good guy, and he wishes he could be that again. And that's one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time. One of my favorite wrestling moves of all time, Chuck Taylor throws an invisible hand grenade, and everyone in the ring, including the ref, has to do a slow motion freak out and then slow motion jump out of the way. And the audience also, if they know it's coming, if they're in the indie crowd, they would come and go, whoa, and they also slow down. So you have to understand that I love bullshit. I love it so much. So the Firefly Funhouse match is my favorite wrestling match of all time. Lashbrook says, I didn't watch, but it's weird to think that the coronavirus made WrestleMania better. So it made a couple matches way better. And I'll get into the other match that made way better, certainly. Saw clips of that, which seemed like the smartest thing to do for the Undertaker legend. Yeah, Lord Crashing, I kind of just wish they just hadn't done it. It was just weird, and I didn't like it. I kind of just wish that instead of that match, they just did something else. I love weird wrestling bullshit so much. Yeah, it felt like a match the Firefly Funhouse felt like a match that, what if DDT Wrestling had a budget? And that is the highest compliment I can give. I should say, Abyss, the wrestler Abyss, who used to work for Impact and then started working behind the scenes, now works for WWE. He was on the set for the Boneyard match, and he was also on the set for a lot of the Matt Hardy stuff. So it makes sense that he would be around for at least some of that nonsense. The other match that not having an audience there made it better was the Edge Randy Orton Falls Count Anywhere match. Because, okay, so for folks that are uninitiated when it comes to wrestling, Falls Count Anywhere matches generally, you can pin them wherever, right? But they often, there's a count of 10. They often start in the ring and end in the ring. Sometimes they don't, but they often move around. This match started in the ring and then never went back to it. It ended on the top of a production truck inside a garage. And it was too long. It was too long. It was 5 to 10 minutes too long. But it was still, it had pathos, and it had brutality, and it had moments where even though I knew that it wasn't live, generally thought that I was watching someone who had just recovered from a career-ending neck injury, who had just come back, suffer another career-ending neck injury. But I was like, well, I feel like they would have changed something. They were able to use camera angles, and they were able to use equipment, and it was really spectacular. That match had a lot of going on, including it starting with Randy Orton dressed all in black, holding a camera like he's a camera person so he could sneak up behind Edge, who did that years ago when he fought The Undertaker. He posed as a camera person to get the jump on The Undertaker. And so that was just like wrestling. So WWE is not, they'll remember some things, but WWE doesn't remember stuff like that often. And it was fucking cool. At least it gave WWE writers, producers the freedom to try some weird stuff. Yeah, I wish there would have been more weird stuff. Honestly, the fact that there were only like I said, the Falls Count Anywhere match would have been very different with a live crowd. Look, it's not all positives. Drew McIntyre becoming the first ever British and by extension, or Scottish, I should say, and by extension, UK champion. The first ever United Kingdom born champion in WWE history. World heavyweight champion. A big championship. It's a bummer that that's not didn't get the pomp and circumstance it otherwise would. That Drew doesn't get his big moment by just beating Brock Lesnar. Like, that sucks. There are a few other things that were ruined by there not being a crowd. But there were other things that were incredible. I imagine if this had gone on like normal, it would have been a very standard show. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Gronk would have become the 24/7 champion. That's right. Ron Gronkowski is a WWE champion. He is their goof belt, their comedy belt. He now is he won that by Trust falling off a balcony onto some wrestlers and then pinning his friend Mojo. 1, 2, 3. And then he was the host. He was the host. This is the thing I do like. I don't necessarily love that by any means, but I do love the fact that he won and then left. He stopped being the host of WrestleMania because he won the belt. He just was like, cool, bye. And I think that is very fun. I like that. He's like, why would I stick around? What, am I going to lose the belt? I'm going to hang out here with wrestlers? I'm out of here. Gronkadonk, go goodbye. The idea that Ron Gronkowski talks like Yogi Berra, Yogi Baer, sorry, I'm all kinds of disoriented there. There's a joke in Tights and Fights, which is a wrestling podcast that I listen to on the Maximum Fun Network that is a very good podcast, and they have a joke that Rob Gronkowski, Gronk, is basically Fred Flintstone, and sometimes he says Gronkadalkadoo, like Yabba Dabba Doo. But yes, I apologize. Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski won and is a champion, and that's a weird thing to say. That is true. Still not the best current, as a former wrestler, WrestleMania moment. It's still probably Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor did a pretty good job when he was in a WrestleMania main event. Because Bam Bam Bigelow is a good wrestler. Anyway, so they just gave it to the... Look, Lord Crashington, a former NFL star, having a belt that he would ostensibly hold on to for interviews. Obviously those interviews aren't necessarily coming. In a different world, he would be doing press, holding that belt, but he's still gonna do. He's still gonna do like snap. He's gonna do chats with networks about being in the WWE and being their champion, and it fucking it puts eyes. I mean, the idea that they don't have eyes already, considering they are one of the last things that is happening pre-taped live, like people are watching, like it's some of the only live television that exists that isn't like it. Well, I'll say this: it's the best production value of any show that's on television right now that's live to tape. Uh, because, oh boy, nobody on late night. I mean, look, obviously nobody knew how to do this, right? Nobody knew how to do it right, but like Seth Meyers sounds terrible. They're just getting better at that. Fallon there's like nothing happening. Uh, you get the sense that Jimmy Fallon has never performed uh, for so few people, for no one ever in his life. Uh, I think Samantha Bee's been interesting, especially because they've been shooting a lot outside with her, uh, and so that's been kind of interesting to see. They've taken advantage of that. Um, but yeah, I think like all the late night stuff has been really weird. So AEW and WWE having like things happening has been, nice for people. People have been tuning in. Also, the empty arena matches are weird. John Oliver has been okay, but the cadence of his jokes is strange in the audience. Yeah, a lot of them have been. Like, Seth Meyers did Jokes Seth Can't Say, which is one of my favorite segments. And it's weird to not hear the audience be fairly realistically uncomfortable with some jokes that Amber says the punchlines to. Um, like it feels a little weird, and that even joke like something like some of these jokes are getting the same reaction they would have gotten in the studio. But yeah, I mean that bit is supposed to be uncomfortable, so like it is been an actual odd thing to just not have anyone there um, reacting. It's been a strange little bit of business, and some people are doing better with it than others, and some people are reacting better than others. But yeah, it is a strange thing. So to see wrestling do okay with it, it's like kind of cool. And we'll see what happens with it. Who knows? I like that John Oliver just sounds more fed up with what's going on. Yeah, and has to obsess about Rad Erotica, Pennsylvania in the early '90s. Keep saying, yeah. I mean, like I think that the people are doing what you would expect, right? Uh, Samantha Bee was talking about how some states are using this as an opportunity to to put a temporary hold on some things like abortions. They're like, oh, non-life-threatening medical procedures can't happen. Like, that is a thing that you would expect Samantha Bee to cover, so she's covering it. Uh, 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 Jesus and Mero are talking about New York shit and dealing with that and talking about Cuomo and like this is what you would expect from them. That they would be talking New York shit. Seth Meyers has a lot of stuff about what's going on in the political things. Like Jimmy Fallon is just playing games and interviewing his kid and like being interviewing his dog and like being fucking Jimmy Fallon because that's what Jimmy Fallon does. Like, yeah, all right. Like, yeah, Jimmy Fallon's gonna like have like a music thing and have fun. Like, that's what you would expect him to do. Uh, I think that a lot of it just like makes sense, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, these are things that like people are just trying to figure it out, give people some sort of comfort or normalcy or something. I don't know. It is a weird time. Uh, in the second half of the show, we'll talk about some of the new anime that's come out because it's new anime season. It's the only new things that are really coming out there. I mean, uh, I did not get my free month of Quibi, so I can't tell you about all the hot new Quibi shows. Uh, so don't. I hope you're not looking for some real good commentary about that service. Because I have not been keeping up on the ins and outs of that odd, terrible waste of billions of dollars. Uh, I'm happy that some of my friends got paid, and I'm happy about that. But man, I don't need that shit in my life. So I will talk about some new anime in the second hour. I definitely find myself leaving Twitch on all day, just to have a voice in the background. Yeah. Uh, 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 TXK. I have had YouTube, like, I've been following more people than I would normally. Uh, and there's new Hearthstone coming on Wednesday. I'll be streaming Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join me for a stream where I'll be trying out some new decks that I'll be downloading on Wednesday. Oh, Jam just subscribed. That is 28 months. Thank you so much. Let me hit the old applause. So, Solf, Quibi has a show that is produced by um, Polygon. So they licensed a Polygon show uh, that Mike Mahardy went to go do for Polygon. But it's a show on Quibi, but he's not working for Quibi. He's working for Polygon, whose their show is on Quibi. Um, like any other program. I have a friend who was in a weird action show where he is the cab driver for. It's basically the game, the Deadliest Game, and he's a cab driver stuck into this thing. I have a bunch of people that I know. I have a few friends that sold some shit to that. So I don't know what's going to happen when Quibi inevitably goes under. Uh, because people aren't commuting. Like, people are on, they're just, I don't know. Um, but yeah, Jam, thank you very much for subscribing. Also, Jam did hit the button there. I missed it, so I apologize. It's gong time, folks. I found this when my roommate moved out. I have this gong. It's a decorative gong, but I'm still gonna use it. Yeah, Solf, I believe he's behind the scenes on it, kind of producing this show. I believe it, yeah. So, but I think that was something where he was looking to do something a little different, I don't know the specifics of it. I haven't chatted about it, but yeah. So that's where he is now. He's at Polygon doing that stuff. Working on that. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, new stuff's coming out. You should check new things out that are out there on the internet. Hey, so if you missed the stream on Saturday, I'm going to talk about it. It's on Funimation. The first episode will be free with ads when it comes out this week, this Thursday. Wait, yeah, because it came out last week. Or is it? No, I'm sorry. It's a Friday show. So this Friday it will be revealed. But I would say get a subscription to Funimation for Gal and Dino, because it's the weirdest fucking shit, man. It is one of the weirdest things I've seen in a very long time. And Gal and Dino is unbelievably great, and I totally recommend it. It is definitely my favorite show of the season so far. There's still new stuff coming, but like, holy shit, it is not great. It's incredible. It's not that it's not great, it's that it's incredible. Holy fucking shit, Gal and Dino is just weird and great. Personally, I think you overhyped the back half, says Lashbrook. Lashbrook, I fundamentally disagree, because if it had just been doing it all over again the way they did it, I think that would have been one way. But the fact that it's more and different and is its own unique thing. Also, that guy's playing himself. Was successful as a child and is now just known for being a guy on other shows. He's playing himself in that. And I don't know what that's going to mean. I don't know. Man, that show is just weird in a way that I'm really digging. I'm real into it. Uh, uh, and I highly recommend. It is right now my favorite show of the season, Gal and Dino. Uh, Look, I think Villainous is cool. Um, my next life is a Villainous. I think it's pretty neat. We'll talk about some. There are 4 shows that I watched this weekend. I will be not watching one of them, and we'll talk about that when we get there because it is just not for me. And then it's a couple shows that I didn't watch that started that I'm going to check out. And there's at least one show that's coming on Friday that I'll be checking out that I just haven't watched yet. Uh, but most of the new anime is out. Let me just check this out here. Uh, yeah. No. Yeah. There right now. Nobody. It seems like nobody has. Oh no, Funimation got it. Fuck yeah! They hadn't announced it. Funimation got the fishing show, Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater. That's a bad name. So the fishing show that's coming is called Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater. That is a bad name, but that's coming. Hell yeah! I wanted to see that real bad, and that is coming. Uh, so the fishing anime hasn't happened yet. Uh, let's see. What else was the other one that I wanted to check out? No, no. Apara Ranman is the other big one that I'm very eagerly anticipating. Uh, that is the wacky races across the United States in the 20th century, and it is an original series by PA Works, and that looks fucking rad as hell. I know it previewed in Japan, and I saw a little bit of the preview episode, um, and it looks just really cool. So I am excited about that. Um, oops. But so that yeah, so there's still a couple new ones. Man, that is a bad name. Diary of Our Time at Breakwater. That's not a good name for a show. That's kind of disappointing. But still, it's a slice of life show about a fishing club, a school fishing club, and I'm into that idea. That the very concept of that interests me. So I'm glad Funimation picked up because as of not too long ago, it didn't look like anybody had it, and that worried me because I wanted to watch it. Uh, Sorry, I didn't pull a piece out here. Uh, but that one show is literally called Gal and Dino. Yep, Solf, it is called Gal and Dino. Now, maybe they could have changed the name of it, for Western audiences that don't know what gals are in Japanese culture. Because it's not just lady. It is a type of lady. Um, but but I'm okay with that because Galadino is just a fun, weird name. And is also descriptive. It is a story about a lady who ends up having a dinosaur move in with her. TXK says, Pat, as someone who has only watched DBZ, My Hero Academia, and Death Note, what is a beginner anime to check out? I'm leaning towards Cowboy Bebop. Well, so if you want to watch one of the best animes that's ever existed, then yeah, Cowboy Bebop is a great one. It is episodic. It is. Oh, sorry. There's an overarching plot, but there are episodes that are self-contained. Um, so you could just watch that and it's great. The music is one of the best music of all time. The animation is very fluid and incredibly well done. Um, yeah, it's a fantastic story. Lashbrook says Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yeah, that is the second series for Full Metal. Or yeah, that is a classic. Um, I think that like it's got some humor to it in a way that is good. It depends. Like uh, Cowboy Bebop is an action show that has some weird sci-fi elements to it. It really is like a bounty hunting show in space. It's space cowboys, and I think it's really great. I mean, I'm not going out on a limb by saying that. If you like the fighting shows, if you like the action shows, if the My Hero like tournament stuff and the Dragon Ball tournament stuff works for you, um, Hunter x Hunter is a really interesting shonen. Um, that I would recommend. There's a 2011 remake of it that is really solid and still I think holds up. And it's a little slow um, to get going, but it is a really good series. Uh, the new Hunter x Hunter is one of the best shown. Yes, I think it's fantastic. Now, one of my favorite shonen series of all time is also by the same creator as Hunter x Hunter, um, but is a harder thing to recommend is Yu Yu Hakusho, YYH. Um, Yu Yu Hakusho is brilliant, but takes way too many episodes to get good. Uh, because it fucking goes for it. It fucking goes for it. But it spends a long time to get there. Once it gets there, it fucking takes off and is great. But the main character dies in the first episode, which at the time was like a fucking revelation. And he spends a bunch of time trying to get to the point where he's not dead anymore so that the show can happen. Uh, Lashbrook says there's never a better time to get into One Piece. Lashbrook, I don't know how anyone could get into One Piece. I as a One Piece fan, as a person who really likes One Piece, I've never recommended it to anyone. Uh, I've always just said like I will tell you when I'm watching it and when I think things are good in the show. But I don't know, man. I think that's just such a hard sell as a show, because there's just thousands of episodes. Um, that's like someone said like, well, if I started watching Boruto, would I know what was going on? It's like, I mean, kind of. The show Boruto really wants to make sure you know how great Naruto was as a show. So it is a little tough to like if you hadn't seen that. Um, uh, I just uh, I just restarted OP for the dub version. Okay, yeah. Carol and Tuesday and Black. Oh, Chop Squad are music anime. Yeah, those are very good music anime. Uh, Naruto was trash after the pain arc got so bad. So I mean like I still liked a lot of what happened in Shippuden. I can totally see where you're coming from, uh, Joel, but can appreciate a lot of what they were trying to do with it. Part of it was that like that show needed more breaks, not filler, just more breaks. Well, I actually don't have the time most other people do, so I'm not leaning towards One Piece. I'm a hospital medical worker, so I still have my day job. Well, there you go. Uh, I totally understand. Yeah. So um, first of all, thank you, and second of all, um, if you're like looking for a short series, like 12 episodes, so Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin is a brand new show that just wrapped up. That's 12 episodes, and it's about uh, a high school animation crew that just wants to make anime, and it's a love letter to creativity and art, and it's beautiful. Um, Black Clover is pretty good though. Black Clover is a good ongoing. It does take a little while, I think, before it's great, and you have to kind of be okay with Asta. which a lot of people he is a deal breaker for, and I understand that and get that that his vocal mannerisms is too rough. Uh, I would say if you liked My Hero Academia, Fire Force is 24 episodes. I think it's 24. Um, Fire Force is a really fun shonen that I think is underrated. It's got a great opening song, the first theme, um, and um, you have to be okay with. Well, you don't have to be okay with it, but it can't be a deal breaker for you that one of the characters has an unfortunate thing about her, which is that her character trait is that her clothes come off sometimes, and she ends up in awkward situations, and it sucks. It sucks because it's just not fun or good. Uh, it's such an annoying thing that happens to Maki that I hate. But beyond that, it's a great show. It's just that part sucks. Yeah, if you don't like fan service, yeah, it is a bummer. I like Fire Force because they take it seriously. Yeah, I mean, like that character is a supporting character. She's not like the main focus of the show. It's just that she has an annoying, really annoying thing. Um, but I would say like we're talking about Naruto. I think Naruto is like the only like one of the only shonens that doesn't just like that it that has like it has female characters in it, and like sometimes it's mostly just like they don't get enough to do, which is the Hunter x Hunter Yu Yu Hakusho problem in shonen, but it's not as bad as that. Or like uh, Black Clover does an interesting thing where the women are some of the funniest characters in the show, and Noelle would otherwise probably be the main character, um, which is kind of fun because she's got her issues, but like her issue is just like she needs to learn control over her powers, and once she does, she's just fucking rad, and it's like okay, that's cool. Um, but I mean that's the thing. Like if you look at Jump Force, the fighting thing, there aren't a lot of female characters in that fighting game because there just aren't a lot of female badasses in shonen, which just sucks. I like Hunter x Hunter because the tier of strong is like you're a weak trash can or you kill someone in one hit. There's no in between. Yeah, there are like there are a few people that have interesting abilities that are still kind of weak, but for the most part, those people do not last that long or actively choose to just sit it out. Um, you don't end up in the situation like uh, I haven't read a lot of the manga, but the manga is not about Gon anymore. Gon is not the main character of his own show because he doesn't have Nen. He's not strong anymore. So he's not the focal point of the manga at all. Yeah, no, he doesn't. Yeah, he was the main character. He did a thing. Now he's done. Uh, so he is no longer the main character of his show. And they went to another character who is a badass. And the next one, they'll go to another character. Is Anza manga Dio? Oh, I like it too, Joel. Don't get me wrong. It's talking about Dio streaming anywhere. I don't know. That show, I don't know if it holds up, but it's still fucking good. Uh, um, let's look at Dio. Let's see. Let's see if it's anywhere. It's I wonder if it's anywhere. Sentai has it. ADV has it, so I wonder if it's showing up anywhere. I mean, you can buy the collection. That's not hard to get. So, um, uh, I've got a friend telling me I should watch Avatar: Lost Airbender. I'm sure purists consider it. So, TXK. Technically, it is not an anime. Um, there are line blurring things. It is a U.S. production. It is fucking good, but it's not an anime. Like sometimes people are there. There are a couple Chinese animation series that are very good out there, and people are like, should that be considered anime? A lot of Japanese animation right now is done in China. Some are done in joint operations. So there's a big debate now if some shows are are anime or not. Uh, it is, yeah, it's a fully U.S. production, but um, uh, Avatar is great and a great piece of animation. And so like I think it's totally worth your time. But yeah, it would not be considered anime, whereas some other shows might, are like there's a weird thing out there. Uh, uh, I hate video games sucked in anime rising. Yeah, Shield Hero is interesting. We'll talk about that. Yeah, Castlevania is also not an anime. It is just a Western animation style, but is taking a lot of cues clearly from anime. Uh, um, uh, yeah, I mean, Shield Hero has its interesting things. I also don't hate isekai. Believe me. Wait, do we have isekai coming up in the conversation? Uh, well, one is classified as an isekai, but I don't think it is. No, but I have four shows to talk about in the after the break, uh, and one is not an isekai, but three of them are based on mobile video games that were very popular around the world and particularly in Japan. Mobile games fucking got their season of anime because there are three that come out on Sunday or Monday. So I'll be talking about those. And is there and then My Next Life is a Villainess is based on a fictional otome game, so it's not based on an actual video game. Um, and then there's at least one other show that's based on a mobile game or a video game that I haven't watched that I think comes out tomorrow. Uh, that's based on a digital card game. So that is a weird thing that's just happening in this world. So I like Isekai. Uh, I don't read that manga. No. Um, so it is a weird thing because I don't hate Isekai because I like the weird ones, right? That time I got reincarnated as a slime was my favorite show of that year. Like it's a different, odd take on it. Slime is incredible, but like I'll also watch I'm the Eighth Son. Are you kidding me? Which is just a fucking standard ass isekai. There's nothing so far. It's like, oh, he was a he was like a worker, an office worker, and now he's a young boy in a mystical land. Uh, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna learn magic and try to make a life for me, and then eventually I'm gonna meet several ladies, and that'll be the anime like that. Okay, I struggle to multitask media, games, shows, puzzles, so I have no idea how anyone has the time to watch so much anime. Well, so it is, in my instance, it is a lot of my entertainment comes from, like I don't watch a lot of television. I gave up Hulu for Funimation this month because I mostly watched anime on Hulu, and they didn't get Gal and Dino, a show that I really wanted to see. So I fully swapped over to Funimation so that I can get my anime that I want to watch. Uh, and yeah, I watch a lot of it's my main form of entertainment. Also, it is a thing I can always talk about on streams, right? Especially now, I don't have a lot going on. So I can at least tell you about the new anime. And I will tell you about the new anime after a pause for the cause. If you're new to the stream, uh, if you are new to this, what's going to happen right now is I'm going to take a momentary break. I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel if you're so inclined. You are under no obligation to do so. But if you want to be like Jam and renew your subscription or become a sub, that would be awesome. You don't have to. If you're currently a subscriber, you can go to the Bear Cave, the Leg of the Scythe, and the Moat. I'm just going to talk about a few ways you can support the channel if you'd like. We'll get back to building, and we'll start talking about the new anime that came out yesterday and today that I watched shortly. So thank you very much for being subscribers, everyone that's watching. If you're not a subscriber, you are under no obligation to do so. But if you'd like to, that would be rad. I also have a Patreon. A Patreon is another way to support the stream. There's different tiers for that, whereas, obviously, so $5 a month, that might be tough for people, and I understand that. If $5 a month is too tough, there's $1 and $3 levels on my Patreon. That is another way to support. If you're watching this later on YouTube, hi YouTube watchers, it's all in the show description, every link that I'm going to be talking about. Bits and coins, always appreciated. If you want to give someone a sub, if you want to be a gifter and give someone the subscription here so they get the emotes, that would be rad. You could do that if you want. Those are other ways to support the channel. You could donate, and then I could buy stuff to build, because I have to keep buying model kits. That's part of the chore. The wonderful chore of the Build Bear Workshop is I got to build model kits. So if you want to buy something from that, I have ways to do that. We'll get through this quickly. We'll get back to building soon. I understand if you do not want to buy things from Amazon. It's fine. They make it very easy to make a list. I have a bunch of things on that list, but I also totally understand if that's not something you want to do. But if you like to, you can buy something on my Amazon wish list. It'll come to me. I'll build it. That's nice and easy. You also could buy a gift card. USA Gundam Store is still shipping things. They have a thing where they can send they're under, it's going to take longer for things to get there, but you could buy a gift card and then send me the code Whisper on Twitch, DM me on Twitter, because my Twitter is always, my DMs are open on Twitter. So that's another way to support me for that. Or, like I said, donate and just give me some cash, and then I'll buy something. Because, I got to keep getting kits. I got to get Lego sets. I got to do the whole thing so I can keep doing the streams, which I love doing. I have a Discord. You can join my Discord if you want to do that. That would be rad. Again, you're under no obligation to do so. But if you wanted to join my Discord, feel free. I post photos of every build that I do at the end of each stream. People post stuff they're working on. And it's real lightweight. There's not a lot of activity in it. I check it every day. So if you wanted to do that, you're more than welcome to. I got a couple links to share with you. Last Monday, a week ago today, I put out a new video for Pat Baer's Anime Club. And I talked about, can an OVA ruin a show? I tried to answer that question by talking about a few shows that have good OVAs or good movies or bad OVAs. So that's that link there. And then I also have a link to Baering the List, which is a weekly series I do every Wednesday, where I just rank things using Tier Maker. It's mostly for comedy. Some people get mad. They think that I ranked tater tots too high in this most recent one where I ranked fried potatoes. There was some heated comments on that one. It was all good fun, but people had their thoughts they needed to get out to me about my thoughts on that, which I think is really funny. All right, I'm going to drink a little water, and then I'll get back to building. So let me do that. All right. Let me quickly check Twitter while I stretch my hands a little bit here. Sometimes people... Real quick, check this. All right. All right, somebody just said yes. Somebody liked my tweet. And somebody retweeted it. That's very nice of them. Okay. Wait a second here. Ugh. All right. It's new anime time. Time to talk about the 4 shows I watched. One that came out on one or two that came out on Sunday. I can't remember exactly. 2 that came out today. 3 of them are based on mobile video games that are popular with people who are not me, because they are not my jam, but they apparently are popular and people like them. So we will talk about them now. First and foremost, we got Shachibato, President, It's Time for Battle, which is on Crunchyroll. This is based on a mobile strategy game. Some people have classified this as an isekai. do not believe it is one. It is a the basic premise is uh, there are this fantasy world that has an economy and has dungeons and it has jobs, and in the video game you are the president of a company. You just took over this company, a small company, and you're sending adventurers out. And as the president, you're giving orders, and it's a strategy game, right? And of course, people that work for you, some of whom they're all fun anime-ish inspired characters. They made an anime based on that. So you are the kind of buffoonish, kind of lazy, mostly clueless president of a company, and your childhood friend wants you to become the new president because your dad, the former president, like took off. He went to go do some other thing, and the company is in trouble. He apparently like took care of her and brought her in to work in the company, and so she's pretty loyal to the company and to you. Wants you to run it. There's a older brother or older sister who does not have time for your shit. There's the younger sister, the younger brother who is the healer, who just seems like a nice little boy. And then there is the secretary who has some mystery about her. Uh, and you are kind of clueless when it comes to fighting. You haven't really done it. The main character, not you. In the game, I guess in the game you're that. But the main character. So this first episode, like, too much of it, I will say, in my opinion, too much of it was about how the guy is not prepared for what he's doing. There were some jokes, there were some laughs in it. It was kind of fun, but I would say primarily it was kind of annoying. Mustashi is following. Thank you for the follow. Uh, Mutashi? I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. Um, um, so yeah, so President, it's time for battle. Like it could be fun. It's a fantasy show. It's got some laughs to it. Um, he by the end of it, turns out he's kind of capable and uh, he wants to help people and he wants to help the company. Also, there's a shot like in the ending credits where there's where the people like they make the announcement that like he's the new president and somebody immediately is just like, "Well, I'll show them." And it's like, why? Why do they have rivals? They need money. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be like incredible, but it seemed okay. And I don't know. I like adventure shows. I like adventure comedies. Um, uh, there was a fun cat. Yeah. Also, I've got 4 shows I want to talk about that I watched on Sunday or Monday for the Monday streams. One of which I'm dropping. So if I'm going to keep President Time for Battle, like unless it turns terrible, I'll keep it for at least a couple weeks because I am not going to watch another episode of Gleipnir. Fuck that show. I knew that it was. Look, I was already predisposed to probably not watch that show because I was like, I like this weird the design of this like bear creature mech thing that he either becomes or inhabits. There's something interesting about like this guy with a transformation that he doesn't want to happen, but he's trying to do the right thing. But he gets found out by the wrong person who takes advantage of him. And I was like, it all comes down to if this character. Oh, Christopian is now following. Welcome. Hello, Christopian. Thank you for hitting the follow button. Always appreciate that. Um, uh, a thing that's always odd about that to me is like, okay, so like, yeah, you found the wrong person. Is she gonna be, uh, like, take advantage of him? And she just seems like she's a masochist, and I just don't, or sadist, just sadist, and it just didn't do anything for me. I don't like the art. I didn't like the characters. I don't really. I think I would probably get to the point where I feel for him probably in his situation, but right now I don't. It just didn't do anything to hook me. And so I think I'm done. If I hear that like, hey, episode 3 was incredible. It really went there. You're missing out. Like, I'll check it out. Um, but as of right now, it did not do anything to make me want to check it out and watch any more of it. So this was the end of that show, which happens, right? That's the thing about this new season, right? I'm going to try things, and then sometimes, like I dropped off a sentence as a bookworm when it was airing. I'm watching the second season because I went back to it. It was slow, and there was a lot of isekai that season, and it was easy to be the show that I dropped. And then turns out that's a great show, and I missed it, so I went back to it. Uh, I'm totally willing to, to say like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have given that show up. I goofed. So maybe that'll be the case with this one. Uh, I'm going to try. I didn't watch it last Monday or last Tuesday because it didn't sound like it would be interesting. But the what show? Shoot, I forgot the name of it. I'm going to look up the Funimation queue. I'm going to look up my queue in Funimation. Of course, that's dragging because of course it is. Because people are watching shows. Uh, the comedy show about the dad who does not want his daughter to know that he writes dirty joke comics. Um, I was like, that doesn't sound like it's for me, but I hear it's very funny and very cute. So, and that like it doesn't ever actually like you never see the stuff he's working on. Um, and it was definitely pitched to me like it was that he wrote porn comics, but he doesn't write porn comics. Crunchyroll's or Funimation's taking a long time for me to log in, so I can't remember the name of it. But I didn't watch the first episode. I've heard very good things. I'm going to check out the first two this week, or at least the first one, and then see if I want to catch up on it. Because like yeah, I said like it didn't seem like it would be interesting or for me, but it turns out it might actually be for me. And good. That's awesome. Uh, okay. Did I do this right? Yes. Sorry, just making sure I did this right. Yeah, I did. Yeah, because it'll go like that. This is the outside leg. Yep, okay. Did Funimation load? It did. Okay, so trying to find my queue in Funimation so I can look up the name of it. Here we go. So we can find this for you. Try to say the name of the show that I'm interested in. Oh wow, loading real slow, Funimation. Whatever. I'll talk about it later this week. Let me talk about. I haven't actually. So sometimes I haven't said the name of the show out. So let me try to say the name of this one. Shironeko. Shironeko Project Zero Chronicle. This is another anime based on a mobile game. Apparently, the Zero Chronicle is to let you know that this is based on. It is not the plot of the game. It is the prequel. It is a before the events. There was apparently an event in the series of the games that this is based on. Um, so because a bunch of websites were putting up the synopsis of the game as if that was the synopsis of the anime, so I was very confused when it started because the synopsis of the game is you're a dude and your friend gets infected and becomes evil, and so you are racing the clock to collect a bunch of things to save him. Um, but this is not that. So this is a straight action show that looks kind of interesting. Um, I don't have a lot necessarily to say about it. There's the light side, evil, good and evil, right? But darkness doesn't have to be bad. It's mostly that they use magic that is dark and that they live in on the earth, whereas there's like a sky kingdom, I guess. But it basically like right away is just like, hey, just because like the King of Darkness doesn't have to be a bad guy. He's choosing to be a bad guy and disrupting the balance, which is kind of a, it's not a unique plot line or a unique story, but I am intrigued about where it's going. I do like this story, like it's two stories. It appears to be star-crossed lovers type of a deal where the queen, is going to be at some point going to meet this dude who is declaring himself to be the Prince of Darkness, who is going to be the successor to the king. And apparently, they're going to look. They're going to meet. They're going to meet. And then we'll see what happens when they meet. But I don't know. I am somewhat intrigued. I don't know if it's going to be a good show. I don't know if it's going to be a great show. I do know that the opening song is pretty fucking great. The opening song for Shironeko is pretty dang solid. It definitely rips. You kind of like you're like, oh, all right, yeah, all right. Some male vocals and female vocals battling it out. Some good guitar riffs. I was like, okay, I'm pumped for this. And then the last show that I watched today, which there was an error when it went up. It went up, but it wasn't. It was region locked to most countries, so I didn't think it actually had gotten picked up by Crunchyroll. It was very weird, but then that was fixed. It was an error. Princess Connect Redive. Hey, I don't know if I don't think I can recommend this show. I'm gonna keep watching, but you probably don't want to. It is. So this is another one that was like labeled as an isekai, but I don't think it is. But it has all the trappings of that. So how do I describe this? Okay. Um, Imagine when you translate a video game with a silent protagonist into an anime, you have to give that protagonist a character, right? The Persona 4, he doesn't talk a lot, but he has dialogue, he has lines, he has a personality. There are jokes. There's a spot where he like dresses up to fish because he's got to find a thing. Like there are moments that he has that like they write into the show because he has to be the main character of a story, and he has to not be a mostly silent protagonist. This is the concessions you have to make. Well, what if you didn't do that? What if you just had him not talk much or at all? What if you took the concept of amnesia? Oh, you woke up with no memory, huh? That doesn't sound like most anime. Well, what if you took that too far? Well, then you would get Princess Connect Redive. And you would have a weird show. Y'all, this is a weird show. It is an action show. A guy wakes up with no memories, or very few memories. He can talk, he can communicate, and there is a character that like is there to help him. There's a running gag where wolves keep eating him because he has a sword, but he doesn't have any skills. Apparently, he has a destiny. Of course he does. Apparently, he was very strong. There's a moment where he is very strong, and it's obvious that he can do it. And that he can be a badass if he wants to be a badass, but he doesn't remember that he was a badass. And I really fucking hope that he remembers some shit in the next episode, because if the whole series is just him never remembering things, it's gonna be a rough show. Like, we've all seen it. When people say they don't like isekai, what they don't like about isekai is they don't like the modern main character stuff in isekai, right? The overpowered main character who is there and everything is going right and he's doing everything he needs to do and there's no stakes That is the thing that people don't like. I mean, there's other things they don't like about it, but that is a lot of what people don't like about isekai, modern isekai. Uh, so at least in this action show, he's not right now. He's not overpowered, but he's too dumb. He's too clueless, and it at some point it's what fucking know what money is, dude. Please know what money is. Please remember what money is. They also meet another character who has a crown and a mysterious past, and at one point yells about how she's a princess because of course she's a princess because it's called Princess Connect, and I imagine he is his latent ability that he eventually has is like a buff for the party. So I think that is his actual strength is that he just buffs princesses. So we're gonna meet a bunch of, and they showed flashes of like, literally they showed flashes of I think like 10 female characters at the end of this episode. So I think this is an anime about a dude that meets a lot of ladies, uh, and they're all princesses. I think, I think that's what this show is. I don't know. Uh, yeah, I don't quite know what's going to happen with this one. I don't know if I'm going to stick around for it. Like I said, if he is this dumb the entire time, I'm definitely going to bounce because it was not particularly funny or well done. It was mostly annoying. Is it better or worse, the isekai anime about an ancient battle otaku who got sent to a Bronze Age world and felt like the anime started about halfway into the first season, that never went on to explain anything that happened prior to the anime beginning? I'm trying to remember what that is, Dirty. Um, I didn't see that show. I do think the idea of not explaining anything that's happening is I'm obviously against. I am obviously in favor of them spending any time describing why things are happening the way they're happening. I'm always going to be pro that. Um, so that sounds not fun because of that. Um, but I don't know. Uh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there are mysteries in the show, and that's fine. I'm just saying that, like, if the humor in it is the idea that they're going to take the memory loss seriously, and he really is like a complete question mark, is kind of interesting, and I don't hate it, but I do want it to be better. Oh, Dirty just said gong time. It's gong time here. Sounds like if Dragon Ball relied on Goku being ignorant the majority of the purpose. Yeah, Goku is a quick study. There are moments where he doesn't understand things, but like they don't spend a lot of time with him like completely in the dark. Uh, Also, Goku can still function as a person. This dude had like 9 lines of dialogue, and it wasn't great. Dirty. I had to make the gong cost more because people were racking up the points. They still will. We're still gonna have plenty of gong moments in the show in these streams, but I had to reduce it somewhat. Uh, Lord Crashington says played the soundboard using 600 points for the soundboard. You got it, Lord Crashington. It's soundboard time. Dirty says more lines dialogue than Caressel had in Soldier. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Still was like, hmm, happened here. Why isn't this working out the way it should? Oh, because I'm doing it wrong. Ha ha ha. That would explain it. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, there we go. All right, our arm is done here. One arm done. Gongs, totally worth the follow. Thank you. Yeah, Chris. My roommate is also a comedian in New York, like or my former roommate, and left that. And I was like, well, that's going in the stream. And that's now a stream thing I have. This was a Christmas gift for my folks, the soundboard. That is another thing that, like, yep, that's going to be a stream thing. Like, why would I not make that a stream thing? All right arm is done. We got to do the shoulder pieces, but keep going. Um, so best movie next to Big Trouble. Oh yeah, I mean Big Trouble was great. Uh, that's the new anime shows that I've watched so far. As I said, looking at what I've been watching, uh, Eight Sun seems fine. I'm going to be watching it. Tower of God. I know it's a very slow series, but I know that it gets better and better, and people really love it. Also, I love the idea that like a Korean webcomic, a webtoon, is getting made into a Japanese anime. I think that's rad. Uh, um, so I'll be checking that out. Again, Infant Dendrogram is ending. There's some other stuff coming up. We got a new the new series on Friday. Listeners, I'll give it another shot to. I was bored by the first episode, but I think the world could be cool, and also it's a mech show, and so I feel somewhat obligated to at least give mech shows a try. So I'll definitely be kind of like keeping an eye on that and seeing what happens there. And then uh, Gal and Dino and Next Life is a Villainous are the two shows that I'm actually the most into. Uh, my Next Life is a Villainous, just like going the Otome route, like focusing on that. I just think is such an interesting idea that uh, I'm super excited to check out more of because I just think it's a cool premise. Uh, so I definitely like want to support that because I really like the idea of a anime that like is a isekai, but realize you are the villain of the story, and how do you make that work? And all of the things that will definitely go wrong as you try to do the right thing. It's, I think just like an interesting premise for a show. And I think the first episode was really good. Uh, and yeah, like I said, let me see if I can actually get into my queue for Funimation. There was another show that I didn't watch on Funimation that I was like, oh, I will definitely try to check that out. That I hadn't checked, that I hadn't like watched, that people were like, oh no, this is actually really cool. You should be watching. Uh, um, where is it? Oh yeah. Kakushigoto. Kakushigoto is the one that I'm like, all right, I'll give that a shot. That's on Thursdays. Uh, yes, they finally included Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater, which is, as I said, not a great name for what looks to be pretty fun. Uh, Tamayomi, I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch the Baseball Girls. They're definitely trying to bait me with that, but I'm not gonna take the bait. And then, oh yeah, I forgot that the second season of Love Is War is coming out. I'll watch that. I think Love Is War is pretty great. When's that coming out? The 11th. Oh, that's Saturday. Oh, I'll have another show to watch on the weekends. That's good. Another Saturday show. That'll be good. Two more shows. Oh boy, Saturday is now the busiest day of shows for me. Hot damn, that's a bunch of shows. Uh, my Friday thing is already. I'm going to drop listeners probably, but it's already Gal and Dino. My Next Life is a Villainous and Descendants of a Bookworm. Uh, I mean, but I might keep going. So yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff. Saturday is gonna be a busy day to talk about anime stuff. Usually it's Thursday, but I guess it's gonna be Saturday now. Okay, get ready for it. And usually it was only Thursday because there was just a bunch of stuff coming. Good night to you, Harold. Thanks for being here. Have a good evening, my friend. Um, Building the list, right? Yeah. Uh, it's always a weird thing because, like, I don't know, somebody was saying, like, oh, this season seems so weak. And I was like, last season was weak. This season, there's, like, a bunch of stuff I'm really into. Last season, I was like, oh, I would have loved if there had been enough shows where I didn't watch Infinite Dendogram. Like, I'm going to finish that show up because I've watched 12 episodes, so to not watch the 13th episode would be odd. So I'm definitely going to watch it, but, like, I got no, like, love lost on, like, that show did nothing for me. We've talked about how one of the characters is literally they wait until episode like 9 or 10 to give a backstory for a supporting character to let you know that that character is the son of Sherlock Holmes and his dad mysteriously died, and that's how he ended up in this game playing this VR game. A character that, like, deduction was never really part of their thing. Like, what the fuck? You just casually drop that? It'll be interesting to see what happens at this last episode. It was cool that the older brother, who we all knew was like gonna be fucking rad as hell, finally got to be rad as hell, and that was cool. He got his rad as hell moments, so I was happy about that. But overall, that show is not great. And obviously it got hurt by the fact that it came out at the same time of a show it was not trying to emulate in any way, but it came out at the same time as Boofery, which is better in every conceivable way because Boofery is not uh, a drama. It's not an action drama. It's an action. It's a slice of life that happens to take place in a VR world, and it solves the problem of there are no stakes if you're not trapped in this VR world by making the stakes. These friends want to do cool things, and they also want to make friends with the people that they are competing with because in the end, like, as long as they're not bad people, it doesn't really matter because it's just fun. And let's just have cute, fun characters have a cute, fun time. To which I say Boofery was, the second best show last season because it was just a fucking good time and so fun and so good. Uh, that Infinite Dendogram just, like, doesn't fucking hold up, man, onto any scrutiny. Like, they tried really hard to stress that the AI characters could die, and then if they died, they're gone. So there are people that care about that a lot. They don't want those AI characters to die, and there are people that don't care about that. They really try to stress that. But also, there's no good reason for the main character to be as good as he is, and it never really justifies him being fairly overpowered. And there's a lot of things it doesn't do. But I am now committed to at least, like, it would be very weird if I didn't watch the last episode of this show. It would be a very strange choice for me to be like, well, 12 out of 13. We're done here. It will be kind of interesting to watch it. I mentioned this on Saturday. If you missed the Saturday stream, I have now officially switched over to Funimation from Hulu, which means that our national nightmare of me complaining about watching ads on Hulu is now over because I don't have to watch ads on Hulu anymore because now I've got Funimation. But the main reason was there used to always be like a show or two that Hulu just didn't get that Funimation had. But this season there's a couple of them, including Gal and Dino, which I really wanted to see. So I was like, well, all right, I'll make the switch. But I've been watching last season they had Nikopara, which I'm still not, like, I haven't rushed out to watch yet, but now I can. But yeah, there was previous season they had how heavy the dumbbells you lift, like that wasn't on Hulu. Like there's always like one or two shows. This season it looks like a lot of shows. Hulu did not get many things this season, so I'm like, okay, well then I can kind of skip it. I think we'll just skip that. Um, but it means that I was watching Infinite Endogram on Hulu, and so now I'm going to be watching the last episode on Funimation. And it's odd because I like look at my queue and it says I haven't watched any of the episodes, and I'm like, no, I have. I've watched them, just not here. I might just celebratory watch some shows that they didn't have on Hulu on Funimation. Just go through the archives and stuff. I did watch a bunch of stuff before the deal died. That when Funimation and Crunchyroll's deal ended, I was watching some stuff before that, and like that all went down. But yeah, I watched shows today on there without having to worry about ads running, and that was very fucking nice. And as always, yes, I could have spent more to not see ads, and it was never worth it to me to do that. But I don't miss it. Also, I have to remember to cancel the WWE Network because I don't really need to have it. I wanted it for WrestleMania. I'm going to watch the Firefly Funhouse match a bunch more, but I don't really need it week to week. Although I guess now that I don't have Hulu, I can watch some older stuff that's airing on live TV. But I think I'm going to be okay skipping that. All right, 8:31, 8:31. Working our shoulders here. We're going to, at the very least, finish this up before we end our stream. We are going till a little before 11 o'clock or around 11 p.m. Eastern Time will be the end of the stream. As I mentioned, my next stream that involves model kit building will be on Thursday. We will continue this kit. It'll start leg day, so that'll be fun. But the next actual stream that I'm doing, Salt throwing in some water there. Yeah, I'll have a little water. Sure. My next actual stream will be this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern for a Hearthstone stream, my weekly bonus game stream. I will be playing Hearthstone because there's a new expansion. Indeed, Honk and Goose. I have not. There's a new class. I've seen some of it. I haven't really delved too much into it. I will be trying to build some new decks. I'll spend a lot of Tuesday and Wednesday, I should say, kind of watching some streamers and looking at lists on various stuff to try to find, looking at deck tracker lists and stuff like that, trying to find some cool, fun, either wild or standard decks to play. I'm hoping to, to find some stuff that's fun and nonsensical for the stream. That'll be, that'll be on Wednesday night. And, if you can join me, that'll be rad. That'll be a good time. Alright, and this goes this. Oop, I didn't pull a piece out. B4. Yeah, that'll be a fun time. That's going to be Wednesday starting at 9 p.m. And then a week from this Wednesday, save the date. Week from this Wednesday, time TBA. I have to figure it out. TBD, actually, I should say. I'm going to do another Smack Talk Showdown stream with guests. I expect them to be almost all new, maybe one returning for the previous one. But yeah, more Smack Talk Showdown, more fun wrestling promos with friends. I don't know the time of it because I am trying to work around some people's schedules that it'll be, like that 9 p.m. or Eastern was too early or too late, I should say, for them. So I'm going to try to accommodate their schedule, and we will see if that works out. But I hope it does. But yeah, that is a week from this Wednesday on the 15th. That'll be the next not Jackbox, Smack Talk Showdown stream. Excited for that. I hope you'll tune in for that because that was really really fucking fun last time. So I'm looking forward to doing it again and getting more people in. All right, so that goes in like that. There's that arm. And now let's build the other shoulder. Finish the other shoulder piece, and then we can finish up our shoulders. Oh, we're going to build the waist next. We don't even start with the legs. We do the waist next. Usually the waist is like the very last step, so that's weird. That is a little odd to do the waist next, but that's cool. We'll start with waist. Waist day doesn't have the same ring to it as leg day. We're doing waist day. We're going to assemble the waist, but whatever. We'll get into some waist and some legs on Thursday. And then Saturday, probably finish up the kit and then start a new one. I assume we will complete our build our weapons on Saturday, and then start the next thing. That's my guess, y'all. All right. Let's put this here. Then we will pop this open. And then, oops, tilt the head. Pop this open. We've got a lot done today. And then, oh, Lord Crashton is saying it's gong time. Redeem the gong, so time to hit this gong. Dirty, have a good night. Yes, we are going to raid, folks. That is the thing that we do here at the end of streams. We do raid now at the end of every stream. Dirty wants the gong as well. Great, gong coming in. Here we go. Gong time. Gong time. All right, let me find a stream to for us to raid. And we will go check out some fun people and see what they're up to. Let's see. Gotta mute that. I don't want to hear that. Let's see. Who do we got? Oh. Well, I mean, we're gonna wait for this here. All right, I gotta wait for an ad to go before we raid because I'm not subscribed to this person. But we are going to raid the creator of our my Twitch emotes, Xandra, the lovely Xandra. We're going to go give them a raid because she is fantastic and great, and I want to support her. So we are going to go give her a raid right now.